Heart of Stone, the brand new Netflix original film which just dropped on the service. This film stars Gail Gadot as Rachel Stone, an undercover MI6 agent who's also working for an organization called the Charter. She's not part of an MI6 team. The other partners are Parker, played by Jamie Dornan, Yang, played by Jing Levy, and Bailey, played by Paul Reddy. Stone also learns on one of her missions that Kaya, played by Leah Batt, is going after the Charter's very secret weapon, the Heart, which is basically a device that can track anyone on the Earth. The film is 2 hours and 2 minutes long and is PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here on Max Talks Movies. I'm Max Sandberg. Today we're talking about Heart of Stone on Netflix. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. If you're new to the channel, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and weekly box office breakdown shows. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Comment down below. Did you like Heart of Stone? If you've seen it, did you not like it? What do you want to see Gal Gadot do moving forward in her career? Let me know in the comment section. If you've not seen it, tell me, are you going to check it out? And if so, did you even hear that this movie was hitting Netflix on Friday? And please like the video, guys. The thumbs up button. That's how you really support this channel. Trying to keep going with some more subscribers, but also more likes here on the channel. It really helps the algorithm out on YouTube so more people can watch these videos. So please subscribe and ring that bell and like the video. So I usually do with my reviews positives, negatives, and then my score, but I feel like I've kind of been limiting myself on trying not to say things and trying to say things in particular instances. So I'm just going to give you general reviews now moving forward, unless I feel like this is not the right way to do reviews. But I've been feeling off about how I've been doing reviews for a bit. So I'm going to move to just doing a regular review. And then I'll give obviously my score and my rating at the end of the review. So Heart of Stone was a movie that I was not very excited for. I didn't see or read anything about it from a critic's point of view or audience point of view before seeing it last night. And it's a movie that I saw the trailer. I was like, okay, action movies have been doing really well, especially on Netflix, especially recently. Extraction 2 is one of my favorite films of the year. It's in my top 10 of the year right now. Netflix can deliver some really good action films, but they can also deliver a lot of generic action films. They throw a lot of money at the action genre because they basically they use all of their money to pay for stars usually, and then kind of build around that. And obviously Gal Gadot was a part of that when she did Red Notice. I think that was a year or two ago on Netflix. So let's get into Heart of Stone. This is a movie that just was not for me. I think right from the get-go, this movie goes for a 20-minute opening scene, which leads into the title card. And I feel like this movie desperately wanted to be Mission Impossible. This comes from the studio of Skydance, which is the studio that also backs the Mission Impossible franchise. I feel like this film wanted to borrow from so many other types of action franchises that have meant Mission Impossible, if that meant James Bond or other things like that. It's trying to be this spy action film. And the biggest problem with the movie really comes down to, we'll get into kind of all the problems, because I just did not like this movie at all. I think let's start with the screenplay. I think the biggest problem with this movie is that you just don't care about any of the characters that are thrown into the mix. And that includes Gal Gadot. And as I said, the movie throws you into a 20-minute opening scene. And while the action and maybe the espionage could be interesting, you don't, first of all, understand what is going on in this opening scene, why our characters are on this mission. And then 3, while the cast clearly has some great, especially the MI6 team, the 4 of them have really great chemistry together. There's no characters. You don't really understand who they are. I know there's the intro trying to build those characters up and like, oh, here's the intro for Gal Gadot, and here's the intro of this character. But the intros and the buildups for the MI6 team are really just bland. That's what you can say about a lot of this movie. And that really does include, sadly, Gal Gadot, who, again, I love Gal Gadot, especially as Wonder Woman. And I think you can really tell that this is just another movie that continues to prove those people right who say that really she hasn't really been anything outside of Wonder Woman. I enjoy her in the Fast and Furious films. But outside of that, there's not really that one performance where you've seen her before. You're like, wow, she's this amazing amazing movie, an amazing actor. And I really feel bad because I really think she could be a action hero for an original action franchise. The same way Chris Hemsworth moved from Thor to Extraction, I think there's a way for Gal to do that from Wonder Woman to another action franchise. Can be with Netflix, could be in theaters. But she, for me, is a compelling lead actress. But this movie just really makes her very bland. I think the other big problem with the movie is that you're not particularly rooting for many people. Obviously, when you get introduced to the villains of the movie, you're obviously not rooting for them. But they set up this movie of Rachel Stone being undercover, not just for MI6, but also for a group called the Charter. And you don't really feel like she should be fighting so hard to stay with the Charter. The Charter just leaves her out to dry so many times, and she continues to save the day for them over and over again. And for me, it just felt like such an odd relationship. I think this movie wanted this mind-blowing world building to set up a franchise. This movie desperately wants another movie. And they do that with the Charter and with this device called the Heart, which is basically, if you've seen the last couple of Fast and Furious films, there was a device in those films called God's Eye, which could basically track anyone on the earth. This is basically God's Eye. If you could also control devices, elevators, things like that. So they're not just finding, you can find someone anywhere and you can find their history and things like that. But you can also, turn the lights off and do things like that. So again, this film just rips from so many different movies and none of it just feels original. It just feels like another generic Netflix action film. And as I said, it's a shame because the actual MI6 team have really good chemistry. Jamie Dornan clearly committed to this movie. I like Jamie Dornan outside of the 50 Shades franchise, and I still think there's, I really, obviously, it was a good sign of him for getting some nominations for Belfast during that award season. He has struggled outside of really Belfast to really prove himself also as a really great actor. And this film just not going to showcase that as well. Also, our characters are just kind of done. Kaya, I think is her name, played by Ali Bhatt. She is increasingly stupid throughout the entire movie. And while she's supposed to be this tech wizard, and she is, throughout the movie, there's a character that interacts with her who keeps making the same choices, the same bad, villainous choices throughout the entire film. And she keeps saying, I don't want these people killed. I don't want this to happen. And then things happen, and she seems so shocked. And it just became more annoying of a character than an actual hero. This is a real swing and a miss for Netflix for me. I like Gal Gadot. It's just a bland character. Also, if you talk about the action, because this is an action movie, there just isn't a lot of good action. There could be some good choreography. You can't really see the action due to the filmmaking that's involved in the film. A lot of close, shaky cams that really miss the mark in this movie. And this going PG-13, I feel like the director and the cinematographer really played it really safe with a lot of the shootout scenes because it's PG-13, not to show any blood. So I think the movie just should have gone all out if the filmmakers were going to be so kind of protective of that rating, which I just wasn't a big fan of. And also the CGI is just really bad in this movie. It just feels like a lot of the technology that's in the movie feels like it's more of like a video game than it does in an actual movie. And again, I'm a big video game fan. I'm not knocking video games, but this CGI was just really bad, and it just didn't really get me hooked as well. So overall, as you can tell, I did not like Heart of Stone on Netflix. It's easily one of my least favorite films I've seen all year long. I wish this was different. I love action movies. I really like Gal Gadot, especially in the lead role. But with really mistaken world building, ripping off, as I said, not just generic, but ripping off multiple other action franchises. This movie just was not for me. I'm going to give Heart of Stone a 1 out of 5 stars. I'm going to go 23% for Heart of Stone. I just did not like this movie. What are your thoughts on Netflix? If you like it, tell me why did you like it? If you did agree with me, why did you agree with me? More videos coming to the channel. I'll see you guys soon.